I'd like to call this meeting to order for the Legal and Finance Committee, City of Rapid City, on October 13th at 12:30 p.m. First order of business is roll call and determination of quorum. Here.
Here.
Thank you. Next up is the adoption of the agenda. If I could get a motion. Motion by Lehman, second by Nordstrom. All in favor? Adoption of the agenda is passed. Now it's time for general public comment, a time for the members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. And I have no slips on that. I would ask that the committee give me a little leeway. I have a question and on an item that's not on the agenda, and because I've had a lot of questions about this, I'd like to address a question to Pauline if I could. No objections? Okay. Hi, Pauline. I'm hearing from people that don't know where to go to get their information for the marijuana license. If you could please help us out with that.
You bet. If they go to rcgov.org, there is a story that flips through on the medical marijuana licensing process. You click on that story and, sorry, new computer, don't know how to do this. There, it went away for a second. But if they click on that story, like two little lines down, there's a link, and on that link you will find absolutely everything you need to know. It'll have the licensing ordinance, the zoning ordinance, the overall checklist, the licensing checklist, the planning checklist, the applications, the forms, everything they need is right there.
I thought it was very comprehensive, and so I'm going to be putting that forward to a lot of the constituents I'm hearing from. Is there a due date included in that information that they have to have their stuff in by?
There really isn't, but once they get it to us, they also have to do background checks. Once everything is completed and they send, assuming they get a provisional license from me, they'll send their application to the state. The state will start looking at those after December 31st. And
okay.
then,
that's good to know.
From there, it goes. If we don't have 15 at that time, as they come in, we'll send them off, kind of thing. If we have more than 15, then I guess I don't know what the state will do with that. That's the state process because it's part of the lottery, and we have them choosing after we get those applications. The state, it's in the state's hands.
Very interesting. And just one more question. LLC is a corporation, and they can use that on their application?
Correct.
Okay. We've got some questions coming up here. I recognize Jim and IT.
Just another thing is citizens can look in the yellow community bookmarks section. There's also a link there. And there is a search mechanism in the website, so they can search medical cannabis. It'll be the first story that shows up.
Well, I will say that I think this is the first time a lot of our people have actually even looked at this website. So I'll probably be asking this question again on Monday. So thank you very much for a little bit of leverage there, everyone. So now general public comment is closed. We'll go to consent items 1 through 10. Public comment is opened. I have no slips once again, and public comment is now closed. I'd like to know if any of the committee members have items they'd like to have removed from consent. And Chair recognizes Jason Solomon.
Thank you, Chair. May I pull item 2 and 6, please?
Yes. Anyone else? Okay, I'd like to have a motion to approve the consent items with the exception of 2 and 6. Moved by Lehman, second by Nordstrom. All in favor? The motion passes. We go to number 2, Police Department. Authorize the Rapid City Police Department to apply for and accept, if awarded, the 2021 Northern and Middle States Rural Law Enforcement Assistance Program in the amount of $120,000. And the chair recognizes Jason Solomon.
Thank you, Chair. May I direct a question to our police chief?
Please.
Chief, same question I always ask with our grants and assistance programs. Any strings attached to this that we need to be aware of?
Yes, there are requirements, but they are things that we would normally keep track of anyways, and I'll list them off so you have a detail on that. We're required to provide statistical and violent crime stats. Those are things that we actively monitor in all of neighborhoods, especially those that are experiencing high levels of crime. We will report information on community violence initiatives, so any of our violence interruption initiatives that we're doing in neighborhoods, to keep track of that. Again, that's something we would normally document. We would need to document community outreach and focuses of enforcement in neighborhoods where violence is occurring. So aside from our normal statistics, we also keep track of our community outreach that we do, which would be whether it's attending meetings with apartment managers or citizens, or engaging with folks that live in a neighborhood to hear their concerns. Again, that's something our sector lieutenants track pretty closely. And we also would have to just keep track of whether we believe this technology, if we're awarded with it, has some sort of impact. So if we're able to point to the resolution of a string of burglaries or something based upon this equipment, we'd need to maintain that. And again, that's something we would keep track of.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
Yes, I owe you donuts. Sorry about that. I need a motion on this. Motion by Lehman, second by Nordstrom. All in favor? Motion passes. We go on to item 6. Approve amended City of Rapid City Capital Improvement Plan. Once again, we go to Jason Solomon.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I make a motion to approve, if I can get a second, and retain the floor.
Second. Okay.
Okay. Great. I think this is actually a really good thing coming out of the conversations that we've had with the City Council. A lot of us have wanted to boost funding for infrastructure, and part of this actually sets a mechanism in place that grants even additional funds to infrastructure at the end of the calendar year. And if I could direct a question to our Finance Director.
Yes, please.
Pauline, would you mind, for the sake of the public and the council, kind of describe some of the changes that are also included in this change to the policy plan?
Sure. Generally speaking, what came out of the council work session when we were talking about those surplus funds as well was the desire to give additional funding to the Public Works infrastructure line item under CIP. This is the process that we're doing to do that. Basically what I did is I had taken the old policy, updated the percentages to what they currently reflect, starting in 2022. My page isn't working right now, so I apologize. Basically, the public work infrastructure would receive 66% of the sales tax revenue. The rest of the items remain the same as previous allocations. So parks was 3%, IT was 1%, government facilities was 3%. Sure. I don't know why my computer wasn't pulling it up. So the only other thing that changed other than the infrastructure is the debt service, because we paid some of that debt off. So it's reduced to about 10% of the sales tax revenue. Now, we also have other revenues coming in, and this is based off of projections. So we also have other revenues coming in for STP funds. Those go directly towards Public Works infrastructure in the exact same dollar amount. We also are getting repaid for CIP from a couple of tax increment districts. That will also add revenue, but we don't budget that out to anybody during the normal course. So then it was added that at the end of every year, whatever basically surplus cash we have in CIP over our $1 million reserve will then in the following year be supplemented into the Public Works infrastructure budget. Typically that's a few $100,000 depending on what tax increment districts are paying and where our sales tax projections came. I expect that it would be higher than that this year.
What kind of ballpark do we have for this next year? I know it's October, but
It is, and I looked at it when I was doing this, and I honestly, I can't remember. I'm thinking it was like right around the 800 to $1 million
Okay.
that we're thinking.
That's a nice little shot in the arm in our capital improvement project plan, and I think that's the goal. Is bit by bit we're trying to figure out ways to boost funding, and I think this is a great step towards that. So appreciate your work on that. Appreciate the council too working together to come to an agreement on this. And with that, I will yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Solomon. I'm going to jump in here, and because so often we go to city speak, and it's not always really relevant to what, or understandable even, to the people that might be tuning in, the STP funds, STP, I believe I've got that right. Could you please define those again?
Yeah, I believe STIP is an acronym for State Transportation Improvement Plan, and STP funds are basically the city's cut of the gas tax that the state receives or levies. It's distributed amongst all Class 1 communities and counties, so that's our annual cut of that STIP money.
Okay, well, I just think it's an informed community is always best. Thank you very much. Chair recognizes Richie Nordstrom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All the comments that have been made previously, I agree with, and if it's appropriate, if I can direct this question to Director Sumption, please?
Yes, go ahead.
Only if it's appropriate, could we have this item added to the agenda for this next CIP when that takes place? Would it be appropriate?
It's already on Friday's agenda.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, there's a lot of good information here, and it's heading in a very positive direction, so it looks, I can't say anything more than what's already been said, so let's go with this and fully recommend it. Thank you.
I would like to recognize me to have a question for Pauline. Pauline, we had at times talked about more categories or labeling for what we're looking at when we're looking at these long lines of the CIP plan. And I wondered if that had gotten any farther. I know that maybe just a little bit of veering off this, but I thought it was a good idea. And if we're looking at more projects for future councils, I think it might be clearer if they're looking at their ward or however we were going to try and divide those up a little bit more to make it easier for the people looking at that. I mean, those are very, very long lists that were given, and try to give us a category or two on how to make those decisions. Thank you.
I'm going to defer that to Dale, Public Works Director Tech as well, because most of those long lists that you're talking about are the infrastructure projects in his division.
Yeah,
or
okay,
department.
thank you. Stand corrected. Dale, please.
Thank you. Yeah, Amber Sitz, our CIP program manager, she is working on that. Obviously, we have a lot of data that we've got to sort through. I don't believe she's going to have anything ready for the meeting this Friday. But I would anticipate maybe next month we'll have revised information to be able to show to you that would break it down a little easier for all the city council members to be able to take a look at what's happening in their wards.
I don't mean dumb it down, but it is a very long list of trying to look at all those projects and trying to figure out exactly what's going on and then extrapolate out to the years and those kinds of things. So thank you very much. And we do have a motion on the floor to approve item number 6. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? And the motion carries. That brings us on to, what? Okay. Okay, we're all on the same page now, which is page 2. Okay, so we go to non-consent items, items 11 through 13. First up, 11, second reading and recommendation of ordinance number 6508, an ordinance to update the process for video lottery machine placement by amending Chapter 5.64 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. Motion approved by Lehman, second by Nordstrom. All in favor? Motion passes. Number 12, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 6509 regarding supplemental appropriation number 6 for 2021. And Chair recognizes Richie Nordstrom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I'll make a motion to approve this item.
Motion by Nordstrom, second by Solomon, and now on to discussion.
Yes, may I direct a question or a comment to Director Assumption, please?
Yes, please.
Pauline, if you had a chance to read over the email that I sent and got a response back from Tracy Davis on the, you haven't, and that's fine. But essentially my question had to do with in regard to the amount of, or the number of supplemental appropriations that we're having to do. And the answer is that, briefly what Ms. Davis gave me for an answer was that this is fairly consistent year after year, and so the number that I was looking at is not out of the ordinary, and things like this have to happen, and when they take place, this is the process that we get to see what is needed for the different items for the supplemental appropriation. If there's anything else you'd like to add to this?
No, and we did discuss that email, and yeah, there was a time that we were trying to limit the number of supplements we did every year, and we figured out that it's easier to do it as they come up instead of waiting for like 4 a year type of thing. So this is right in line with the number that we typically do in a year. We will have one more after these two for the year-end supplement, and then that'll be it. This one in particular was needed because of the bonuses given to the employees, whether it's the $500 bonus or the $1,000 bonus. That's what number 6 really, the majority of that is. There's also in there the loan for the Civic Center for the center hung scoreboard. That's, I believe, also included in this one.
Thank you. That's all I've got. And express my gratitude to Ms. Davis for responding to my email. I appreciate the clarification. Yep.
Thank you.
We have a motion on the floor for approval. I have no more comments. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. And we're on to item 13, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 6512 regarding supplemental appropriation number 7 for 2021. Motion approved by Solomon, second by Nordstrom. All in favor? Aye. Before we go to adjournment, I'd just like to thank the committee for being here. These meetings are really effective. I really like the idea that we're meeting in the Legal and Finance and Public Works again, so whoever made that possible, thank you very much. And as we are the deliberative body now, we can talk about things much more in depth, so I appreciate the homework that's done before these gentlemen show up. So thank you for doing that, so we can actually get ready for Monday. Motion to adjourn, please. Okay, Pauline's going to...
Thank you. I wanted to bring this to your attention in case you missed it, because it was in the consent items, but we have scheduled the last meeting of the year for December 27th at noon to pay those final bills, and more likely have that second reading on that final appropriation ordinance.
Thank you for that. Okay. What? Do any of the other directors here, I mean, you've taken your time, do you want to address us on anything? This might be something we add to our meetings at the end, just because you guys know what's going on and take all this time out of your day, so.
Madam President?
Yes.
So one of the things that we noticed at the Public Works Committee meeting, as when the agenda is first approved by the committee, the chair turns to staff and on those items on consent and says, staff, is there anything that you would like to visit about or bring to our attention? And that's really helpful, because once in a while there is something that would be helpful for you to know going into Monday's night's meeting.
Thank you for that. I will keep that in mind. Any other comments? This is it. It's your time to speak. Okay. I think they'd rather be adjourned than go back to work. This meeting is adjourned.